This is Bobby C, and we begin our look at sports this week out at MetLife Stadium as the Giants and the Eagles renewed their rivalry. Eli Manning with a throwback performance, but in the end, despite coming down to the final series, it was the Eagles that pulled away with the victory. A bit of controversy in the end. Was it holding in the end zone for Evan Engram?
I'm not the type of guy to get in the ref's face or anything or go crazy, but that was tough. That was tough. We were right there. We drove down the field, 2-minute drive against the best team in the NFC. It was tough.
You can't tell me that's not a pass interference. I mean, my guy couldn't even lift up his left arm, so you hate to see it happen that way, but I got to be better.
Manning throws for over 400 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I've always said 10 is 10. He's going to be 10, so definitely he played lights out today, and he definitely rubbed off on us.
When 10 get in his mode and start in the line, block in, and everybody's hitting on all cylinders. I mean, it's a special team.
The Eagles just hold on in this one, 34-29. The vibe in that locker room was great as they go to 12-2 and they lead the NFC East.
Nick played a great game today, and gave us opportunities, and we're going to keep on getting better. We want to stay aggressive. Even with that bye, it's an opportunity. Make sure you get fresh, ready to go. Watch extra film and use it to propel you towards your next game.
As Big Blue has done so many times this season, they found an unique way to lose, this time spoiling Eli Manning's effort. The Giants' special team's woes, including 2 block kicks and a block punt, cost them versus the Eagles, wasting Manning's 434-yard effort. The 2-12 Giants, likely on track for the number 2 pick in the draft, will be in Arizona Sunday against the 6-8 Cardinals. Last Sunday in New Orleans, Bryce Petty got a chance to audition for the starting QB job for the Jets next season, and he did nothing to show you that he's the guy. Mark Ingram ran for 2 touchdowns and gained 151 yards from scrimmage, including a late 50-yard touchdown run, and the Saints overcame 3 turnovers to defeat the struggling Jets 31-19. Petty had 179 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. He will make his 6th career start this Sunday, and he's optimistic that he'll be better than he was against the Saints. The 5-9 Jets will host 7-7 San Diego at 1 p.m. on Christmas Eve. The Jets have waived wide receiver Jeremy Curley, who had been a 1-week roster exemption following a 4-game suspension for violating the NFL's policy on performance enhancers. Gang Green said it was to make room for some of the up-and-coming players on its roster. One more side note for the Giants. John Mara and Ernie Corsi began GM interviews with one of their own, Mark Ross, and also plan to interview Kevin Abrams before talking to outsiders. Ross, the VP of Player Evaluation, has been with the organization since 2007. The Knicks' road woes continued in Charlotte Monday. The Orange and Blue, which came into Thursday night's game at Madison Square Garden against Boston, tied for the best home record in the league, just can't seem to get the same results on the road, especially minus their best player, Kristaps Porzingis. Frank Kaminsky scored 15 of his season-high, tying 24 points in the first half to give the Hornets a jolt off the bench in a 109-91 victory over the Knicks Monday night. The Knicks are in Detroit tonight. Meanwhile, the Brooklyn Nets are home for the Washington Wizards. On the ice, the New York Rangers and New Jersey Devils, fresh off their Thursday night meeting, are back in action. The Rangers host Toronto at the world's most famous arena Saturday, while the Devils are home in Newark for Chicago Saturday night. The Islanders are also home for Winnipeg on Saturday in Brooklyn. Time for some quick hitters from around the world of sports. The landscape of New York sports radio has changed recently. First, it was Mike and Mike departing on ESPN Radio in November. Greenberg and Golick had shared the mornings for 18 years. Last week, it was the Pope of the New York sports radio scene signing off after 30 years. WFAN's Mike Francesa took his final turn behind the mic last Friday. His drive time slot will now be filled by Chris Carlin, Maggie Gray, and former Jet Bart Scott. I guess nothing lasts forever. Even if you're motorsport power couple Danica Patrick and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the two have ended their nearly 5-year relationship, a spokeswoman for Patrick confirmed to the Associated Press. Patrick, who announced her retirement as a full-time NASCAR driver at the end of the season, was a no-show at the NASCAR Awards ceremony in November, where Stenhouse was being feted for making the series playoffs. This led to speculation that the pair were no longer a couple. Rena, this means I have a shot with Danica. Patrick is retiring as a full-time driver and hopes to end her career next year by racing in the Daytona 500 and the Indianapolis 500. It's ongoing celebration that she has dubbed the Danica Double. In local college basketball, St. John's and Iona squared off in the Holiday Festival Sunday. Shamari Pond scored 16 points to lead 5 St. John's players in double-figure scoring. The Red Storm improved to 9-2 overall with a 4th win in their last 5 games. The Gales are 5-5 with their first loss in 5 games. John Skipper, ESPN's president since 2012, left his position Monday. Former company president George Bodenheimer, will take over on an interim basis. Skipper cited substance abuse problems for his resignation. He said he is seeking help. The Knicks got the better of Carmelo Anthony and OKC last week at the Garden. Melo scored 12 points in his return to New York. The Knicks beat the Thunder. Melo and OKC haven't been able to really figure it all out. They did win Monday, but Melo scored just 4 points. He took 6 shots, the fewest he had in a game since 2013. The 4 points were also his fewest since 2012. Kobe Bryant had one final night in L.A. The Lakers retired both of his uniform numbers, number 8 and number 24, Monday night. Then the young Lakers challenged the NBA's elite, the Golden State Warriors. The Lakers' young core continued their audition in a 116-114 overtime loss to the Warriors, punctuated by a tie-breaking Kevin Durant jumper with less than 7 seconds remaining. Durant scored 36 points and the Warriors reeled off their 9th consecutive victory. Klay Thompson had 17 points and 10 rebounds as the defending NBA champions predictably dampened a celebratory night for the Lakers. Gotta love the baseball hot stove, folks. The Yankees, fresh off their acquisition of Giancarlo Stanton, are still looking for ways to acquire all-star pitcher Garrett Cole from the Pittsburgh Pirates. According to reports, a deal could mean stud prospect Clint Frazier could be heading to Pittsburgh, although the Pirates allegedly asked for the Yanks' top prospect Gleyber Torres in any deal for Cole. The Yanks have also checked in with Arizona on Patrick Corbin, Zach Greinke, and infielder Brandon Drury, while still trying to move Jacoby Ellsbury. With the way the Yanks seemingly make these blockbuster Hollywood-type moves, there's also been speculation that the Bronx Bombers could keep Stanton for 1 year and then deal him to the LA Dodgers next season to make room for free agent Bryce Harper. That's just bananas. And on a final sports roundup note, if you're looking for a feel-good sports story this holiday season, look no further than Texas Ranger pitcher Cole Hamels and his wife Heidi. The two donated a mansion and 100 acres of land in southwest Missouri to a charity that provides camps for children with special needs and chronic illnesses. The donation of the 32,000 square foot home to Camp Barnabas was made Friday. It was listed for $9,418,400, according to Realtor.com at the time of the donation. Hamels said in a news release that he and his wife wanted to help the charity make children's dreams come true. We hit the C-list for dreams coming true for 2 new Baseball Hall of Famers and what it could mean for several others moving forward. The National Baseball Hall of Fame's Modern Era Committee announced the election of Alan Trammell and Jack Morris recently at the baseball winter meetings. That Trammell, the MVP of the 1984 World Series, and Morris, the winningest pitcher of the 1980s, had to wait this long for election was ridiculous. The 2 Detroit Tiger greats deserve Cooperstown, and to be honest, several others that appeared on the Modern Era ballot, including Don Mattingly and Marvin Miller, do too. Mattingly, Steve Garvey, Tommy John, Dale Murphy, Dave Parker, Ted Simmons, Louis Tiant, Morris, and Trammell were eligible on the Modern Baseball Era ballot, which recognizes those whose biggest contributions came from 1970 to 1987. A 16-person committee voted, and it took 75%, 12 votes, for election. Garvey was a 10-time All-Star first baseman, and Morris won 254 times plus pitched a 10-inning shutout in Game 7 of the 1991 World Series for Minnesota. Tommy John won 288 games over 26 seasons, a career extending represented by the pioneering elbow surgery that bears his name. Miller headed the Players Union from 1966 to 1982 and was on the ballot for the 7th time. In 2008, 4 years before he passed away, he sent a letter to the Baseball Writers Association of America saying he didn't want to be considered anymore. I firmly believe several from this group deserve election. I also think Trammell's double play partner should be enshrined as well. Trammell, a shortstop, has said his dream was to go into the Hall with Sweet Lou Whitaker, his double play partner in the middle infield for 19 seasons in Detroit. Trammell and Whitaker formed one of the best double play combos in baseball history, and they were the longest running at 19 seasons. Whitaker had 9 seasons in the top 10 for double plays turned as a second baseman and ranks 4th all time with 1,527 in his career. The advanced stats also argue the case for Whitaker, who has a bigger and a higher wins above replacement, 74.9 than Trammell, 70.4 wins above replacement. WAR measures a player's overall contribution to the team and is widely used when comparing players. Whitaker finished with 244 home runs, 59 more than Trammell. Whitaker also had the higher OPS, 789 compared to 768. Whitaker was American League Rookie of the Year in 1978, a 5-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove winner, 83 to 85, and a 4-time Silver Slugger winner. Trammell was a 6-time All-Star, 4-time Gold Glove winner, 3-time Silver Slugger Award winner, and the MVP, of course, of the '84 World Series. Alleged steroid users like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens continue to garner more support, moving over the 50% threshold this past election. But the Hall could make sure to go back and not overlook some that have or could have been dwarfed by the steroid era. Players like Donnie Baseball and Sweet Lou Whitaker. Congrats to Trammell and Morris, and happy holidays and New Year to all of you. That's your sports. I'm Bobby C.